Good morning, everyone. This morning we are going to cover an economic subject known as caveat emptor and caveat venditor. These are the Latin words. Caveat means beware, be careful. Emptor means customer. Caveat venditor, beware. Venditor means seller. First one is buyer beware. Second one is seller beware. This maxim is created by Hamilton in 1931 and Benjamin, respectively. The purpose of this maxim is to cover the customer, to provide safety to the customer, to protect the customer from any kind of cheating or detrimental product or metrology or anything. Customer should not be sold a product which is harmful for his health, harmful for his property, expired drugs, anything which is spoiled or stale. Seller should not sell it. But it's not only the responsibility of the seller, responsibility of the buyer too. The buyer should also check every single thing that the buyer is buying. Check for the ingredients that don't suit his body, check for the expiration date, check for the metrology, the weight, check for the price, maximum price, minimum price, sales. Means what Adam Smith has said, that the businessman will always try to cheat you. But you also beware that businessman does not cheat you. You be also aware, beware that customer is not cheated by businessman, and the businessman beware that you don't cheat customer. So this is like two sides of the same coin. Caveat emptor, customer, buyer beware. Caveat venditor, seller, merchant, beware. Both of them should be aware, both of them should follow the business ethics, both of them should take care of each other, both of them must not stoop too low for the profit, for money, and to try to cheat each other. So this is Latin words. Caveat emptor, emptor means buyer. Caveat venditor, venditor means seller, the seller. Caveat means beware. I prepare 5 points for your understanding. This knowledge can be applied in your life. This knowledge can be applied in your MBA. There's a question in MBA about caveat emptor and caveat venditor. So the point number one is, emptor and venditor, buyer and seller, both must check quality of the product, price of the product, utility of the product, ingredient of the product, expiration date of the product. You cannot just leave every single thing to seller, that he gave me the expired drug. You go to the consumer court, the first thing that the judge is going to question you is, did you check the date? When you bought it, you say no. Did you check the ingredients? When you bought it, you say no. Did you ask any kind of question to the merchant, to the seller about the product? You go, no. You are not going to win the case because you are guilty of whatever the consequences you suffered. Because you were not aware. Beware, you did not follow caveat emptor. So in caveat emptor they say, look or get took. Look or get took. If you are not going to look at the product and see every single thing very minutely, then buy gingerly, then remember you are took. Means you will be taken advantage of by the businessman, as Adam Smith has said. Every businessman will attempt to cheat you. Point number two is, Both must be aware of each other's duty about each other. Salesman, seller must also know what are his duties towards the buyer. The buyer must also know what are his duties towards himself. When you go out to buy a car, just don't listen to what the seller says and buy it. But you also ask some question. You ask about the negative things. You ask about the fault. You ask about the black swan. You ask every single thing, check around, go for the information feedback from other sellers and find out every single thing about the car, then you buy it. Otherwise, if you are cheated or if you are took, then you are not going to get any kind of justice in the court because you did not follow the maxim of caveat emptor. Hey buyer, beware. Customer must beware because the seller is always going to attempt to cheat you. So don't become so vulnerable sitting duck. Don't be sitting duck vulnerable. The seller can actually squeeze you, sell you the lemon. Lemon means an inferior product. Number 3, both must be aware that product is not detrimental anyway. Seller must not sell us any detrimental product. If the product is, say for example, car is old, bike is old, he must tell us how old it is, how many miles it has run, every single thing about the bike or the car. And you also ask the right kind of question to cover you, to protect you. Don't trust anyone 100%, but use your own expertise, use your own intuition, use your own talent, use your own skill. And then you can cover yourself and asking question, write up a question to the seller and the seller lies to you. Then you can take him to the consumer court, and when court asks you, judge asks you, did you ask this question? Your answer will be, yes sir, I asked this question. He lied. Car was 10 years old and he told me that it's only 5 years old. Then you are the winner. Point number 4 is, both have to obey the mercantile law and abide by caveat emptor and caveat venditor. Buyer and seller, both are equally responsible. Responsibility swings both ways. It swings towards seller, swings toward buyer. Buyer alone is not responsible for everything. Judge is not going to tell you that you are only responsible, because you may not be able to understand English language. How can you read expiration date? How can you read what ingredient that particular product contains? At that time, the judge is going to ask the seller that, did you explain the buyer what it contains? Did you ask right type of question to your buyer? Hey buyer, did you ask right type of question to your seller? If you ask questions and courage, then every single thing in the life will be safe and sound. But if you play the role of a dumb, deaf, and mute person, don't ask any kind of question, then you will be taken for a ride. That is why this caveat emptor and caveat venditor says, look or get to. If you are not going to look at the things, if you are not going to ask right type of question, if you are not going to be inquiring customer, you are going to be cheated. 5th is, no gimmicks, no malpractice, but only credible, honest to bone biz ethics. Applies to both of them. Both of them. Neither emptor or venditor should adopt or resort to any kind of malpractice or mispractice or gimmicks or shenanigans or similar. Meaning, emptor must not try to cheat venditor and vice versa. Meaning, venditor must not try to cheat emptor. both should adopt ethical business practice. No gimmicks, no malpractice, no shenanigans, no shibboleth, no cheating, no any kind of underhanding practice, no any kind of harm or hurt going to each other. But honest to God, honest to bond, credible, ethical practice of business. That is what caveat emptor and caveat venditor emphasize. So this is the time, that is only the time we had today. We're going to talk about tomorrow something else. Until then, God bless all of us. Amen.